All right, this one is from Chris without a H. I like that spelling. Different. All right, he says, "Hi, Trip. I've recently gotten into listening to your podcast, and I've got to say that I love it and have definitely seen some results, and I've been on sort of a binge lately with it. Here's my situation. I've been told by numerous girls that I'm amazing to talk to in person, but when it comes to texting, I'm a brick wall, almost word for word what they say. I've listened to several of your episodes where you mentioned that texting should only be used as a tool to set up dates, but now I'm in a bit of a rut with more and more of these girls wanting for me to text them here and there. I've actually lost contact with 2 girls after they have reached out to me or vice versa over text to get a text conversation going, but I find it hard to either set up a date with them for whatever reason, such as scheduling, or bingo, or me trying not to text them too much to the point where they lose interest. Sometimes I may end up texting them back about 12 hours after they text me if I remember to. My question is, how can I continue to maintain attraction with some of these girls that I'm seeing over text? Should I just get better at texting and increase my text game? Or should I filter these girls out who need a lot more attention than others over text before a meetup? Thank you for your time in reading my question. Keep up the amazing work. You're helping lots of men like me out there, Chris." All right, Chris, you kind of answered part of your question here. I get this question a lot. It is a polarizing, I have a polarizing answer that a lot of men cannot handle. And I understand why. I'm very understanding and empathetic towards how hard it is to take the advice that I give about texting women. So, okay, let me give the advice and then we'll dive into Chris's situation, which might be a little bit of a repeat of the answer here. Okay, so the advice that I give, which Chris, you know, is when you're texting, you only want to text to set up dates. Okay, you only want to text to set up dates. And the in-between texting, you want to limit it. Now, I have some rules for that, which we'll go into in a second, but you want to limit it, and you don't want to be texting too much. The reason why I like to give the advice in such a hardcore way of do not be texting at all in between dates is because I know that you're going to screw up because you're human. I know that you're still going to text a little bit. But if I start telling you, yeah, you can text like once a day, you're going to blow that out of proportion, and then you're going to lose the girl, and I don't want you to lose the girl. Will you for sure lose the girl? Of course not. Will it increase your chances? Absolutely. Why? Because texting is not an actual way to connect with someone and get to know somebody. We're not wired as human beings to become attracted over text. Therefore, I don't believe that text game exists. Now, I do believe that if the girl likes you already, is attracted and invested in you, then texting does give her some butterflies. Like, of course, it's going to make her feel good when she gets a text from a guy that she likes. And that is fine, but it doesn't actually increase attraction. But I understand you said how do you continue to maintain attraction? So I understand that there is this level of maintenance. Well, back to your question here. You said, how can I continue to maintain attraction with some of these girls I'm seeing over text? Well, you said earlier, I find it hard to either set up a date with them for whatever reason. So that's one thing you said. We'll go to the next thing in a second. You said, I find it hard to set up a date. So you know what that says to me? That says to me that you try to set up a date with them, they don't agree, or their schedules are too tough. So then you land in what? Text buddy. And now you're in text buddy mode. So these girls either don't care to actually meet up with you and just want attention, free attention, and want to be a text buddy with you, right? Or you guys you're not trying hard enough to get the date. So you end up in this situation where you're a text buddy. So who cares if you lose those girls? I don't know why you'd want to be texting with a girl all day that can't meet up with you, or text them ever if they can't meet up with you. So we'll just throw all those options away. But then you said, or me trying not to text them too much to the point where they lose interest. I don't believe in the idea of a girl losing interest over you because you're not texting a lot. If that happens, then yes, the girl is too needy. I think you dodged a bullet. If this girl needs you to be texting her all the time, is this the kind of relationship you want? Really? You want a girl to be you want to be texting a girl all day? That tells me you have nothing else to do with your life. That you have no other things going on. A true alpha, a guy who's on a mission and a purpose, is not. Do you think Elon Musk is texting all day? Do you think the fictional character James Bond is texting all day? Do you think successful men are texting all day like they're girls? Not as much as what guys think they should be doing. So we don't want to be around those women. But also, I get the idea of, yes, I understand. If you're not maintaining some sort of attraction and there's a date that you guys have set up that's really far away, it's like a week plus away, then yes, in those situations, it does make sense to maintain attraction. I will say you can text her like once, maybe twice, but don't do like, hey, how are you? You want to like send a picture of something cool you're doing or tell her something interesting that you're up to. But you only want to do that a little bit. You don't want to do that and then get into this long text conversation. You want to leave the woman wanting more. And I get it. There's a degree. If you do that too much, then you might lose them. But again, if they care that much, I suspect that it's someone who's needy that you don't actually want. Now, I want to say, I give this to my clients. I'm going to give this to you now. There's a formula, I believe, for what you can do to maintain attraction when you have a girl who's a big texter. Because yes, we're living in the 21st century. Texting is a form of communication. So if you respond poorly to their text messages, you can lose the girl. Yes, it does happen. But I've got a little formula for you. So here it is. If you are dating a girl and it's been like a couple dates and clearly she's very attracted to you, she's initiating the text messages. If she's initiating, I wouldn't text back 12 hours later. No, you can, but I would probably do somewhere like 2 to 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours at the most in terms of you responding to her. So again, let's say you went on a couple of dates with a girl, and by the way, you should always have a date set up, so you shouldn't go too long. There should never be this weird in-between area where you don't have a date set up, okay? So make sure you always have a date set up. That way, by the way, you're going to maintain attraction because they go, oh, this guy likes me. We had great dates. He wants to see me again. So that's kind of like bottom line. That should be enough. Now, you might get the situation, for example, when let's say you set up a date. Okay, a couple days later, she goes, how are you? So how are you? The formula to respond to that or any other text message that she sends is you're going to respond to her text message. It's going to be several hours later. It's not going to be longer than a couple of sentences. It's going to be nice, so it's not going to be cold. And you're not going to ask any questions back. So I'll say that again. You're going to respond 2+ hours later. It's going to be only a couple sentences. It's going to be warm, not cold. I'll give you an example of what that looks like in a second. And you're not going to ask any questions back. And the reason why you're not going to ask any questions back is because I don't want you to get into a whole text convo all day. In theory, you will actually increase attraction. Hardcore, by the way. You will increase attraction if you're not asking all these questions back and giving her all this attention. She's going to be thinking like, wow, this guy's really busy. Does he like me? Does he not like me? And then she's going to be even more attracted and she's going to want to see you again because she's thinking of how non-needy you are. So that's really important there. Okay, so what's the difference between a cold and a warm text message? If she says, how are you? I wouldn't respond, 2 to 3 hours later and say, doing good. It's like, that's obviously a little intense. You could do that, in some cases, maybe that does build more attraction because she's like, what? Wait, what? Does he like me? But I'm all for not being too gamey here. You say one sentence. At least that makes up for you not having to ask all these questions back. So again, she says, how are you? You say, oh, today's been a crazy day, but it's been awesome, so productive at work. Couple sentences. It's giving her what she wants, but it's not giving her all of what she wants. So you're giving her this really nice response. You're just not going to be engaging and asking questions back. So there you go. Your last question here said, should I just filter these girls out who need a lot more attention than others over text before a meetup? Yes. Oh, that's interesting. You said, should I just filter these girls out who need a lot more attention than others over text before a meetup? I wonder if you're saying here before a first meetup. But yeah, if this girl wants to text all day and can't even meet up with you, it should be done.